It's the Above It All show. It's happening. It's occurring at this current moment. It's occurring at the current It's the Above It All show. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I understand that the last couple of these shows have been a little wild, so I appreciate you for sticking through them. Because we're going somewhere with this journey, and so there you go. So today we're going to be talking about more than one or two things. We're going to be talking about some fun news stories. I had fun reading these news stories anyway. Well, at least I'm speaking. I'm a time traveler because I haven't actually read through the whole news stories or done the segments yet. But I'm saying that I had fun because I'm a time traveler. So. Just throwing that one out there, but anyway, so hopefully everyone's having a great morning. I know there are people listening to the sound of my voice right now, so I'd like to take advantage of that by saying drink some coffee, because coffee is good for you. You know, there are people, there's some scientific evidence, to my understanding, that says that like 1 cup of coffee is the sweet spot. Caffeine, it boosts, your fucking, all that kind of stuff. But, there's other people that say that even that boost, like the constricting and unconstricting of your blood vessels and all that stuff, it's probably not good. Who really knows? But as long as you're not drinking it with milk and sugar, can you believe, like, I still cannot believe people put sugar in coffee. It's almost is unreasonable as when people put sugar in hot sauce. You ever see that? Like sriracha hot sauce. It's just sugar paste. That is also bizarre. Shouldn't the whole purpose of hot sauce be you want to burn your mouth off, not like have like a lollipop in there? Shouldn't the whole purpose of coffee, it's like a drink you consume to get caffeinated? People put sugar in it. Bizarre. It's strange. It's really fucking, I'll never understand it. But coffee is better without sugar. I also want to say this, if you're drinking like gas station coffee, maybe the sugar is something you need. But like I've had gas station coffee. I don't put sugar in coffee. I put sugar in coffee one time. It was when I was doing jury duty. Has anyone ever heard this story? Yeah, I did jury duty once. I was so fucking pissed off because they didn't pick me. I just sat in a room and they had like a little coffee stand, right? And I saw the sugar packets and I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. I've been drinking coffee for a couple, months at that point. I had put milk in coffee before, but I was on the way out with that. I never really tried sugar in coffee. I was like, you know what? I'm at jury duty. I'm sitting in this room. I got nothing to do. Let's try some sugar coffee. And I remember it tasted horrible. It tasted so terrible. Just like sugar plus the coffee that they had at jury duty. But I sat there and I drank it, even though it tasted like pure pain and suffering. Why? Because I didn't want to be a weirdo and throw the coffee away. I didn't want to, was someone going to ask me, oh, is there something wrong with the coffee? And then I'm going to have to say I put sugar in the coffee and I didn't like it. I never had sugar in the coffee. And then they're going to look at me weird. And then I have to deal with that. I have to sit in a room with that guy for God knows motherfucking how long. Anyway, that was when I did jury duty. But if you put sugar in coffee, I'm just telling you to stop. You don't need it. I mean, it's really sugar is a deadly poison. It's fine if you consume it once in a while, right? But, if you put sugar in your coffee every morning, it's basically, you might as well be putting some Baileys in your coffee, You might as well be putting some fucking gin in your coffee. You might as well. As far as your liver health is concerned, you might as well be. Maybe your performance wouldn't be as good, but hey, who knows about that. But anyway, sugar destroys your performance as well because it leads to a crash. So you might get that sugar high, when you're sitting on your fucking car or train to work or whatever because you're a fucking idiot and you fucking commute to work. I mean, can you imagine not working from home? I know, I'm just being a little silly there. Just, don't get offended. All you fucking snowflakes out there. That's the problem with having an audience as a left-winger is, it's like stepping on glass, dealing with these motherfuckers. You say one thing out of line and someone's gonna fucking cancel you, you know? So this is why I'm announcing I am leaving the left, and I'm leaving it by saying if you put sugar in coffee, you're a Neanderthal, and you should know better by now. But anyway, let's get into the news here, and we're gonna do what? So first up on today's news program, I want to, I've been talking about a lot of death, destruction, chaos on these shows. I've been going a little bit down that rabbit hole. So let's break it up with a good old-fashioned happy segment. I know, you're watching Above It All in October and you're getting a happy segment? Could you imagine such a thing? Well, you won't have to imagine for that much longer because I'm about to put it on the screen. Nashville police chief's son, who was wanted in the shooting of 2 officers. Can you believe such a thing? Also, apparently I got my fucking... Yeah, check that out. Look at that. I got my dimensions are wrong. Holy shit, I gotta fix that. Was found dead after a car chase, officials say. So I just want to give a good old shout out. This is like an officer down for the ages. Now imagine, this guy is dead, so I have no problem with pretending I know anything about him other than that he killed cops. I mean, really, honestly, that's all you really need to know about somebody in order to make a moral judgment of them. But either way, so imagine you're a cop's son, not even just a cop's son, but a police chief's son, and you witness firsthand, probably the police chief beat the shit out of the mom, probably beat the shit out of the kid. As we know, 40% of cops admit to beating their spouses. They're like, I go home and I pound my wife, and not just with my cock, but with a frying pan. I knocked that bitch out cold. You didn't wake up for 6 days. And then the kid saw the blood, and then the kid was, and then I told the kid that mommy had it coming, she was on drugs, that's 40% of cops. They admit to that shit, so, what the fuck. But anyway, look it up. Google cops 40% if you want to find out more. But so, you're a police chief's son. You probably saw your dad kill your mom. God knows what the fuck's going on here. You probably just hate cops, because imagine being a cop's son and not hating cops. Like, you ever see those movies? Like, this is like a TV and movie thing for the ages, where it's like, my daddy was a cop, and then I wanted to be a cop, and then they find out that their dad was a corrupt cop. Yeah, that's right, he was a corrupt fucking cop. And then it's like, am I gonna follow in my daddy's footsteps? You ever see this shit on TV? That's the shit that my mom would watch when I was like a fucking kid. She'd sit there and watch like fucking NYPD Blue or some other fucking stupid propaganda garbage. But, that's not a thing in the real world. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't talk to people that are cops. If I find out you got a cop in your family, I'm like, whoa, buddy. And you know what? I got cops in my family too. That's why I know this stuff. But anyway, so imagine this. You see your fucking dad killing people for no reason. Probably has got a body count in the dozens. Probably beats the shit out of your mom. Probably you as well. And you're like, you know what? I'm 38 years old. I'm just going to go out with a bang. I got nothing left anymore. You know what? Let's just kill a couple cops and then drive off a cliff somewhere. So let's find out. The Nashville police chief's son, who was wanted in the shooting of 2 officers, was found dead Tuesday night after leading police on a car chase, authorities said. John Drake Jr. That's one hell of a name, by the way. That's like, you can make a fucking child rhyme, like John Drake Jr., something like that. I'm just throwing it out there, so any musicians out there want to give a shout out to our man here. 38 was being sought, not caught, that's a different word, sought on 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. So attempted? Wait a second, hold on. Attempted? Aw, man. Fuck. Alright, anyway, we're all praying for the best possible outcome here. Attempted first-degree murder after a shooting that injured the police officers during a struggle Saturday night in La Vergne, a suburb of Nashville. Drake resurfaced Tuesday when he stole a car from a couple at gunpoint after they wouldn't give him a ride. Metropolitan Nashville Police Department spokesperson Don Aaron said, when officers spotted him in the stolen car, Drake led them on a pursuit, Aaron said, and the car crashed and Drake got out and fled into a shed behind a home near downtown Nashville. It made it sound like he died in the chase. Found dead after a car chase. Now, again, found dead. Like, that implies that he was dead when he was found, right? So if he got out of the car, right, you know, how is he found dead? Did he die in the shed? Like, because he had, like, an injury to, like, his femoral artery or whatever the fuck that one is? You know, did he kill himself? I guess we'll find out. While officers were surrounding the residence to contain the shed, a gunshot was heard, and it appears he had died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna lie, like, if you're in a position, right, where you're gonna die no matter what, you got a gun, and there's a bunch of cops around you, I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe we can have a different ending here that's a little bit more entertaining. But either way, once again, this is the child of the police chief, so that's awkward. You know, now that police chief is going to have to deal with the rest of his life, thinking, I drove my kid to hate police officers, and then they killed themselves. Like, you know, so there's a lot of shit going on here. Now, again, mental health when it comes to cop families. I've said this before. I have a cop in my family, not directly. It's like an uncle of some kind, you know, so I don't have too much extended interaction with them over my lifetime. But every time I've been around this cop uncle of mine, like, they're just like a rude, like, mean-spirited fucking asshole. Like, everything they say is, like, aggressive for no reason, right? If there's anything bad that happens in any capacity, I'm just talking from my experience. Like, they blame it on you for some reason, like, these people, like, they're just aggressive, you know, like, and I mean, like, hey, how you doing? Like, I'm just like, you ask them, like, oh, how's work going? And they're like, fucking, or like, I don't know, like, how's your weekend? And they just, like, respond with anger. Like, that's at least my experience, right? And I've met other police, officers outside of police contexts, you know, like, just seeing, like, oh, you know, this guy's a cop, you know, yeah, like a fucking family reunion or like a party of some kind, or, that not like a good party, obviously, if a cop is there, but like one of those like awkward parties where there's like 60-year-olds there, and like, you know, it's like, it's not really a family party. It's like, you know, one family member was invited and they drag you. Has anyone ever had this? Anyway, my point is, in every context I've ever met a cop, inside and outside the uniform, they're a fucking disgusting asshole. They're just abusive. They're aggressive for no reason. They act like they're the main character, you know, like, why are these people talking to me? I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. So, you know, maybe it's possible that Mr. John Drake Jr. Was just fucked up for some completely different reason. But I find it interesting that the police chief's son is going out there on a suicidal cop shooting spree, I should say. I just think that that's interesting. Like, you know, we should be looking back at how this stuff happens. There's some axe over there. I don't know if you can see that. Quote, during the investigation, they made contact with a subject. Mouse said, like, is this motherfucker's name Meows? Like, I know I'm dyslexic and all, but, like, what the fuck kind of shit is that? Your name is Meows? Like, are you fucking serious? Said at a Saturday news conference, they struggled with that subject, and during that struggle, the suspect produced a handgun and fired shots. I love when they say they produced a handgun, like they're a fucking alchemist from the 14th century. Like, they just put together some fucking dillweed and some fucking, like, rocks from the quarry or some shit, and then boom, a handgun just magically. What is that? They produced a handgun. They did not produce a handgun. They pulled it out of their pocket or a fucking holster or, like, their fucking waistband. They did not produce a handgun, you stupid cocksucker. Learn what words mean. I'm sorry. Officers Ashley Bowleyjack, what kind of fucking name is that, and Gregory Kern were injured, and I just want to say, injured in the shooting and taken to a hospital. Both have been released from the hospital and were recovering at home as of Tuesday morning. So that's, we're all praying for the best possible outcome when it comes to their recovery. Metro Nashville Police Chief John Drake confirmed Saturday that the suspect was his son, describing him as estranged. Of course, they're always estranged, but we always have to wonder, why were they estranged? Quote, despite my efforts and guidance in the early and teenage years, my son, John Drake Jr., now 38 years old, resorted to years of criminal activity and is a convicted felon. Why? Like, what does that mean? Like, despite my efforts and guidance in the early and teenage years, like, bro, like, it's obvious you're a failed father. It's obvious you're gonna have to live the rest of your life knowing that you had a kid and you destroyed that kid's entire psyche, so much so that they would rather kill themselves. Like, imagine you have a cop as a dad. Like, imagine the power you have, right? Imagine the influence you wield with such a powerful family member, and you would rather kill your fucking self than like to ever like go through life any further, right? So I just want to say this, right? When we have to talk about cop families, now again, I've given you my experience. I have a cop in the family, and they're just a complete fucking like asshole in every way. Every cop I've ever met, both in uniform, like, you know, like at a police station or whatever, if I go there for whatever reason, I've been to a police station a couple times. Oh, Jesus, you know, it's like a fucking vampire going inside of a church, you know what I mean? Or so like a garlic factory or some shit, you know. I love garlic though, so I'm not a vampire. You know, like, they're just mean. They're like, I don't like, if you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, but they're just like, they just take an aggressive tone all the time, all the fucking time. I've guessed people were cops, just by the way that they act when they're out of uniform before. So we can only wonder what the hell this police chief was doing to his kid. But either way, kid killed himself because of his dad. I mean, I don't know, like, 38 years old, that's a long time. We can make an argument that, you know, he is his own man and, you know, did things on his own accord. But what I'm saying is, I don't believe that we have free will. I don't believe that really people can fundamentally be capable of making decisions, myself included. I feel like every decision that we make or we feel like we can make is a result of our childhoods, is a result of the things that we've been through, right? So it's like, I don't know, man. There's like, we can have that argument about whether or not, like, how much agency this guy had. Maybe he could have turned his life around. Maybe he could have just moved somewhere, and we can all talk about that. But either way, we know when you are abused from a young age, that leads to some crazy ass shit in the future. And if you have a cop for a father, we know for an absolute fact it's 100% verifiable that this guy was abused from a young age. There is literally, if you have a cop in the family, it is impossible for them to not be abusive. I'm just going to put out there, people might say you're being extremist, you're being hyperbolic. I say, okay, prove me wrong, motherfucker. But anyway, so we can have that conversation. But all I know is, you know, I thought, you know, I don't know, shooting of 2 officers, I was expecting a little bit more of an entertaining story here. But either way, police chief's son did shoot 2 guys and then unfortunately killed himself, without explaining really to the world as to why. You know, if I were to give a, you know, a big suicide thing and my dad was a cop, I would say, like, I would write somewhere like, oh yeah, by the way, this guy, blah, blah, blah. I would take him down with me. I'm just throwing that out there, right? So, you know, you can call this tragic. I call it classic, when it comes to, an American news story. But, there you go. Cop kid kills self and 2 cops, but not the cop dad, for better or for worse. Anyway, next. You know, this is like where I start to realize, like, you know, I've been doing this show for so long. Not that long. I mean, like, what, 4 years, 3 years? I don't even know the concept of time anymore. And we're going to be talking about time in a moment. Just, you know, fucking bear with me here. Let me give my fucking 17-minute preamble for a 2-minute news story, for Christ's sake. Anyway, is that, like, I feel like I've done this story so many fucking times, but it's like a semi-annual thing, you know, and it's just like a passage of time. Like, oh yeah, it's October. You know what that means? We're going to be talking about daylight motherfucking saving time. Now, I just want to say this just on the gate. I am against daylight saving time. Now, I just want to say, also for more clarification, I'm against changing the clock. That fucking shit is dumb. Like, what lets Americans think they're so goddamn special? I know some other countries, I think, do it, but it's mostly Americans. They're so goddamn special that you get to fuck with time? Really? How about this? Oh, it's too dark outside? How about, I don't know, start your day an hour earlier on your own fucking, like, you know, so I, like, the whole clock change thing, it's fucking dumb. I don't give a shit. Do we stick with daylight saving? Do we stick with, whatever the other one is? I don't know. Do we meet in the middle and just change the clock by half an hour and be done with it? You know, I don't know what the answer is. All I know is the idea that the clock changes is fucking dumb. It is just dumb. But I'm going to read this headline. Daylight saving time may create a literal headache for you. Here's why. So then we have this, like, yoga instructor on, like, a love fucking pillow or whatever. Let's just ignore that. When the clock is set back, does your world get turned upside down a little? Daylight savings time will end on Sunday, November 5, moving the clocks in most U.S. states back an hour. And that is no small thing for our health. Now, again, this is the thing, is we know for a fact The week and the week after daylight saving time goes the clock roll back, there are more car accidents. There are more accidents like in the workplace, like machine accidents, people pressing the wrong button, getting their arm caught in the thing, right? And it's because we live in a country where every single person in this country is treading water to survive. Like, they're getting just enough sleep to survive. They're subsisting on fast food, which has just enough nutrition in it to keep you alive, unhealthily, sickly. You're going to die any minute now, but you're technically alive. Like, you have a pulse in a technical sense. All right, so everyone's treading water. No one is, like, in any way has, 75% of Americans don't know how to drink water. Look it up. They're chronically dehydrated. 75% of Americans are so stupid they don't know how to drink water. If water is too hard, drink some seltzer. That's hydrating. Kroger brand seltzer. Watermelon flavor. But anyway, and people don't sleep that much. People think literally, like, if you ask someone, how much sleep do you get a night? They'll say, like, I get like 6 hours, and they think that that's a good thing. They think that's an achievement. Like, yeah, I get 6 hours of sleep. That means you're basically chronically, you're just functioning at like 80% capacity, right? Even 8 hours every night is like, that's not, like, sometimes you need to sleep more. Sometimes you just need to sleep for like 9 hours one night if you have a physically exhausting day. Like, that's the thing. Like, the idea that we try to have every day have the same schedule, like, that's just a fail. That's an epic fail. Even like weekly scheduling, like meals, nutrition, sleep-wise, even that's a little strange. Like, and it's hard to keep track of things. But like, if you, like, let's say you have a physically demanding job. If you're sleeping 6 hours a day, a night, you're not sleeping enough, right? And then you have one night of 5 hours that fucks your shit up. You're going to crash your car and kill 6 kids, right? But let's say, like, you don't have a physically demanding job. You still, like, if you're sleeping 6 hours a night, and again, are you really sleeping 6 hours a night? Or are you laying down and then, like, you're up at night thinking, oh God, oh my God, the world is coming in on me. And then, like, maybe, like, 70 minutes later you fall asleep and then you wake up in the middle of the night because you have to pee or whatever because you can't stop eating sugar and sugar makes you pee more often. Just a fun fact, if you eat a dinner that has a high sugar content, we're talking about fructose, sucrose, that kind of stuff, you are more likely to pee in the middle of the night. Just throwing that out there, a little fun fact. So, like, are you really getting 6 hours of sleep? Probably not, right? So, again, if you're, like, tracking, like, oh, I go into my bed at 10 and I wake up at, like, 6 or whatever the fuck, are you really getting 8 hours of sleep? Or are you getting, like, 7.25, right? Like, because, sleep is a very specific thing. Sleep is not, like, the time period while I'm lying in my bed, right? So I just want to throw that one out there. But again, most people are chronically sleep deprived. They don't sleep that much, and when they do sleep, they don't sleep that well. And again, a lot of people, if they have more physically demanding days, it's not like they go to, like, some people do. Like, some people will go to sleep an hour early, 2 hours early. 2 hours early. I don't know how to do plurals. But, like, it's not standardized in America. Like, a lot of people do not do that on a consistent and healthy basis, A lot of the time someone has a day off and they'll sleep all day on the day off, and it's like, like you might feel pretty decent the day after, right? But then it's like, oh, well, you didn't do anything on your day off, and then all you do is work, that kind of stuff. So I just want to say, daylight saving time, it's just dumb. It literally has a death count. Like, this is like one of those things with society that's like COVID is like the flu. Like, people are just okay. Like, 40,000 people a year, like, die of the flu. Maybe it's 20,000. I have the numbers confused. I think it was 40,000 die of lack of insurance. This is pre-pandemic. And I think it's like maybe like 10 to 20,000 of those cases of the flu. Highly preventable. You can just insure people and they wouldn't die, right? But they die anyway, and everyone is just like fine with it. It's like speed limit. Like, every time the speed limit goes up, there's like, people know for a fact someone is going to die. When the speed limit goes from 70 to 80, there is a death toll. Like, it's a mathematical certainty that more people will die. The same thing with daylight saving time. We do it anyway, even though it has a literal death toll. Like, Black Friday is another one. Black Friday, where people go into super spreaders, give themselves a permanently disabling virus, so then get a fucking goddamn toaster for 10% off, right? Like, it has a death toll. We know for a fact people are going to die, and we do it anyway. Isn't that a little fucking strange? A little fucking weird? Isn't that strange? I don't like, just think about that kind of stuff. It's a little weird. Dr. Raj Kumar Dasgupta says daylight saving time ends soon, and while most of us welcome the extra hour of sleep, for some people that time change literally causes headaches. The end of daylight saving time is typically a struggle for cluster headaches. Cluster headache attacks can occur every day for 6 to 8 weeks and then go away in a cluster cycle. The theory is that you can actually trigger a cycle by switching the time with daylight saving time. The other thing is the circadian rhythm is under attack. You know, your body is used to sleeping and being awake at certain times, and then you just, like, attack it for no reason whatsoever. But, you know, you're more likely to destroy your circadian rhythm by, like, watching one more episode of an anime on whatever the fuck, you know, than daylight saving time. But still, it's a factor, you know, it's a noticeable factor. The connection between the time change and cluster headaches is that the portion of the brain that is also the generator for cluster headaches is also the portion of the brain that manages a circadian rhythm. See, I'm ahead of the shit. I didn't read that ahead of time. God damn, I'm smart. Holy fuck. Which is located in the hypothalamus. Also, a lot of migraine sufferers usually will have a little bit of sleep deprivation or their sleep is affected by this change, so they'll see an increase in headache frequency during that period. Now, you can read the rest of this. I pretty much already summed the rest of this up, but basically, we need to end daylight saving time. That should, you know, we can spend like 5,000 years talking about the nitty gritty, but we need to end this shit because not only is it has a literal death toll, like there's more traffic accidents, people die in car accidents and stuff, right? But also everyone's quality of life is just lowered for no reason. Like there's no reason whatsoever that your quality of life just degrades overnight. And it's just like, what kind of dumb motherfuckers are we that we think we can fuck with time? Like, you know, what if I just changed my fucking time zone? Yeah, like, what if I just, like, went on my phone and my desktop and I was like, yeah, I live in Russia now. And then, like, now I'm just living by the Russian time zone. The Russian time zone. I know, look at me. I'm an American. Yeah, that's right. The Russian time zone. Yeah, I know. Everyone clap for my dumb ass. Anyway, you know, like, I don't know, it'd be a fun experiment maybe for a little bit, but it's like also like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? It's just dumb. It's just fucking dumb. Seasons change. Sunlight hours change. Like, who are we to play God in that fucking instance, right? And it's also, isn't it weird, like, the idea, okay, like the idea, like, it's easier for the whole society to switch the clock back than, I don't know, like, certain industries, like farming, to just, like, wake up an hour earlier. Like, so I work from home, right? So I have to, like, change my clock because some farmer 200 years ago was so dumb that they didn't just want to wake up an hour earlier. That's why I have to change my clock. Is that a joke? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, come on. Like, how dumb do you think I am? I know I'm an American, but I'm not like those other Americans. I promise you, I am not that dumb. But anyway, fuck daylight savings time. Is it savings time or saving time? I don't, like, this says saving time, but it sounds weird. Anyway, I don't know why this yoga instructor is, what does that say? Let's play home? I don't even know what that means. But anyway, daylight savings time. There you go. I don't know. It's just another example of dumb fuck Americans just being dummies. They're just dummies. They're just, you know, we put up with dumbass shit because we're dummies. And I'll cop to this one. Like, we should be protesting in the streets to end daylight saving time. Everyone hates it. Nobody likes it. We all moan and groan, and yet we do nothing about it. Why? Because we're dummies. We're a bunch of fucking stupid ass little dumb fuck dummy dumb dummies. You may have seen this floating around a little bit ago, but we have an update here, so I thought I'd weigh in. Jamal Bowman charged and pleads guilty to 1 count of falsely pulling a fire alarm. Bowman, who pulled a fire alarm in a house office building last month, will pay $1,000 fine and write a letter of apology to the U.S. Capitol Police Chief. This is like one of those arcs where it's like, honestly, shout outs to Jamal Bowman for being like a cartoon character. Like, you know, is like, this is the shit. I just want to say this, right? Like, and maybe this is where I launch my congressional campaign. If I went to Congress, you fucking bet your ass I'd be pulling fire alarms. I'm just saying that, like, we need more cartoon characters in Congress. And we're not talking about right-wing cartoon characters like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert, you know, like, we need some actual, like, you know, like a Vermin Supreme type situation going on in Congress. I want someone to, like, pull some fire alarms, take all the lead out of the pencils, take all the ink out of the pens, you know, like, maybe, like, replace the paper quality, like, you know, in the printing room with something that's a little bit lighter so, like, it's easier to scratch through when you're writing on it. Like, you know, like, that kind of, like, we need some good old-fashioned pranks in Congress, you know? We don't need any of this dumbass shit. So I just want to say, shout-outs to Jamal Bowman. If I had the money, I would pay this fine for him. Because solidarity with my fellow pranksters, the class clowns out there. And he's a former middle school principal, so he knows a thing or two about class clowns, right? He's learning from the best. Washington. Representative Jamal Bowman, D9, pleaded guilty on Thursday to one count of falsely pulling a fire alarm, which he did in a House office building on Capitol Hill last month. Bowman entered his plea in D.C. Superior Court on Thursday morning as part of a deferred prosecutorial agreement with prosecutors. Under the deal, Bowman is required to pay a $1,000 fine and write a letter of apology. Like, it's a letter of apology, not an apology letter. I just want to say that, to be very clear, to the U.S. Capitol Police Chief. Why does the fucking U.S. Capitol... Like, come on, man. Like, really, you need to apologize to the police chief? Like, I'm sure the police chief knew it was funny. Everyone knows it's funny except Republicans. Then again, you know, police chief. Police are notoriously unfunny, so maybe he does need to apologize. You know, just so that police chief doesn't fucking, you know, be an asshole, I guess. In return, prosecutors have agreed to dismiss the charge against Bowman in 3 months, as long as he breaks no other laws during that time. The congressman will have to return to the court on Jan 29-24 for a hearing to confirm his compliance with the agreement. In a statement on Wednesday, Bowman said he accepts responsibility for his actions. I am responsible for activating a fire alarm. I will be paying the fine issued and look forward to these charges being ultimately dropped. He set off the alarm on September 30th. In the minutes after Bowman pulled the alarm, he walked past several uniformed Capitol Police officers without telling any of them he was the one who pulled the alarm or that there was no fire in the Kennedy building. Prosecutors told Magistrate Judge Dorsey Jones during the blah, blah, blah. Yes, Bowman said when Dorsey asked another prosecutor's statement, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was in a rush to get into a vote to avoid a government shutdown, Bowman told reporters. Like, we can go into that. That part doesn't matter. I don't give a shit why he did it. Honestly, I wish he has more nefarious intentions with pulling the alarm. Why? Because it's fucking funny. It's really funny. It's really, 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 really funny, right? And you know what else is funny? This shit. On Wednesday, Representative Lisa McClain, secretary for the House Republican Conference, said on X, can we stop with this X thing? Come on, come on. Like, just please, for the love of God, stop with the X thing. That she planned to introduce a resolution to censure Bowman and remove him from all committee assignments for the rest of the 118th Congress. Yo, like, talk about having no sense of humor whatsoever. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, did this guy kill a child or something, you know? Like, and even if he did, I wouldn't support censuring him from all committee assignments, right? Because probably that kid had a no, I'm just kidding. Get it? Just kidding? Get it? Because we're talking about kids getting killed. Ha, kidding. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, hee, ha. Anyway, like, the idea that Republicans took this shit so seriously and they were talking about it, like, it's just like, bro, he pulled a fire alarm, man. Like, he's a middle school principal. He's seen this shit before. He's learned from the best. He knows what he's doing, man. So anyway, solidarity with Jamal Bowman on this front. You know, there you go. That's really all I got. I mean, I could milk this. I could just go, like, you know, and another thing. But I don't really have another thing other than, you know, based Bowman, I guess. So we should be all fundraising to pay his fine for him because class clowns got to stick together is what I got to say. So there you go. All right, everybody. So we're going to be talking about the, I guess we could talk about the new speaker. There's a new Republican speaker. But honestly, who cares? Because as we know on this show, on the Above It All show, all Republicans are insane. You don't need to know anything about this specific speaker other than he's a Republican. He doesn't believe in elections. He doesn't believe that gay people exist. He doesn't believe that the climate's changing. He certainly doesn't believe in the germ theory of disease. He's just a cookie-cutter, AI-generated Republican, right? Total NPC mode. Right, but basically, I guess there's a new speaker. That's what I'm told, and we have the first vote after the new speaker, which is a vote to endorse terrorism. Yeah, that's right. 9 Democrats voted against a resolution in support of terrorism and murdering children. So, I mean, I may have, read a different headline that was in my notes there, but Israel, we need to be honest on this show. Israel is a neo-Nazi state. It is a state operated by neo-Nazis. Adolf Hitler's wet dream. Could you imagine a world where Adolf Hitler is living in Argentina and just sipping fucking whatever the fuck in Argentina, watching Israel commit even worse crimes than Adolf Hitler could have ever dreamed of, with almost no pushback at all whatsoever. Now again, Holocaust, really fucking bad. But guess what? Just because there was a Holocaust doesn't give Jewish people a right to an ethno-state where they can commit their own Holocaust of other people that have even different skin colors. Like, it's just fucking dumb. It's just dumb. Israel is a neo-Nazi state, is a fascist state. Israel has no right to exist. Jewish people do not deserve a country in the same way that Muslims do not deserve a country. Christians do not deserve a country because religion is fucking stupid. I don't give a shit if you believe in Santa Claus. You do not deserve a country. Like, this is like if we started, like, everyone is like, oh, I believe in Santa Claus, right? And then everyone was like, oh, we don't like the Santa believers. And then, like, you know, climate's changing, right? Now we can go live on the North Pole or whatever. Then we all colonize the North Pole. But let's imagine there were other people living in the North Pole, and then we just killed them all. And then we say, look, well, we need a place, we need to have our own state, you know? Like, it's just dumb. It's all fucking stupid garbage. I'm sick of pretending that, I mean, I never pretended anyway, but I'm sick of other people pretending that Israel has a right to exist. It doesn't. If you move to Israel, like, if you're born there, like, get the fuck out as soon as possible. But if you choose to live in Israel, if you move from somewhere, like in New York, a lot of people, move from New York to Israel, you got some fucked up shit in your head. I'm sorry. If you move to Israel, if you like the government of Israel in any capacity, if you acknowledge that the state of Israel has any right to exist as some sort of apartheid regime, you're fucked up in the head. You have some brain-eating, flesh-eating virus, so like eating your fucking gray matter or some shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Ethnic cleansing is fine if it's Jewish people doing it? Really? That's your fucking position? So I'm sorry. Israel is a neo-Nazi state. It's a terroristic state. It's as terroristic as Saudi Arabia. It's as terroristic as the United States. It's as terroristic as Russia. It's a terror state. It's a state that has the sole purpose, that only exists to commit a genocide. That's it. The only reason Israel even exists at all. It has one plank in its existence, and it is not a safe place for Jewish people, as we know, because they don't keep Jewish people safe, right? They basically create militant, armies in a petri dish in Gaza. They block everyone in there in an open-air prison, essentially enslaved, right? They cannot leave, and they cannot build any personal wealth. They're basically enslaved in an open-air prison, right? They fund terror groups, militant groups, I should say, such as Hamas, right? And then they leave the doors open so that Hamas can walk into the Israeli, territory, whatever it is, and kill innocent people. So it's not a safe place for Jewish people. So anyone that says Israel has a right to exist as a safe place, it never has been a safe place for Jewish people. It never will be a safe place for Jewish people. I'm sorry, you got conned. You got fucking scammed. You got hoodwinked, my good friend, okay? So it's a terror state. It only exists to commit a genocide of Muslims. That's it. To commit a genocide of Palestinians. That's it. That's their only purpose for existence. Netanyahu has one reason to live, right? It is not to create a safe haven for Jewish people. It is to kill as many Muslims as possible and get away with it, right? That is his entire purpose to being alive. And only 9 Democrats voted against it. 9 Democrats were like, 6,000 innocent people being killed for no reason? That's actually not acceptable. 9. 0 Republicans, to my understanding. I could be wrong. Here. 1 Republican. Okay, 1 Republican. But like, isn't it just like just think about it. Like, I know, like, it's fun. Like, the propaganda for Israel is honestly, like, we gotta learn something from it in the same way that people should learn from Nazi propaganda. And you want to know who has learned the most effectively from Nazi propaganda? Israelis. The Israeli government operates almost like it's like Nazi Germany 3.0. It's like a super version of Nazi Germany, right? The shit that Nazi Germany was doing to Jewish people pales, except for the Holocaust. But again, we're going through the Holocaust right now. Right, the Holocaust of Gazans, the Holocaust of Palestinians, that part is happening right now. But the pre-Holocaust conditions pale in comparison to what's going on in Israel, right? We have roads in Israel. Not we, I don't live there. There are roads in Israel where if you're Palestinian, if your skin color's a little too dark, you're not allowed on that road, right? If your skin color's a little too dark, maybe someone can break into your house, steal your house, and the cops will say, there's nothing we can do while that guy's like, you know, like giggling through the window or whatever, right? That's what's going on in Palestine, right? And again, now they're going through a Holocaust. Over 1 million Palestinians in Gaza have been displaced. Their homes have been destroyed. Family members have been killed. 6,000 dead motherfuckers confirmed. It's probably more. We don't even know. Tens of thousands of injuries, possibly hundreds of thousands of injuries. This is a Holocaust. This is a genocide, and it is a genocide upon genocide upon genocide. When Israel was created, how was it created? By a genocide, a Holocaust. When Israel happened in the beginning, what did they do to the Palestinians? They killed a shitload of them and displaced even more, right? Nearly 1 million displaced for no reason whatsoever. Why? Well, I don't know. Why not? Now, again, we all got to acknowledge the Holocaust, one of the, if not the worst things that's ever happened in human history, right? So I'm just thinking to myself, like, isn't it crazy to, like, you know, to be theoretically the victim in the Holocaust? Right? And then you're thinking, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to doing my own Holocaust. Like, I understand generational trauma, right? Your parents spanked you, so now you're going to spank your kid, and then your kid's going to grow up to have a spanking fetish, right? Like, we all understand this, right? But like we need to have, like, isn't that fucking crazy? So there's a Holocaust, right? And Jewish people were nearly wiped off the map by some crazy ass motherfuckers, right? And then everyone else in Europe was like, we don't want Jewish people, right? Like, why did they go to Israel? Because every other European country, right? Russia, we're like, whoa, we don't want to deal with Jewish people. America, we don't want to deal with Jewish people. Britain, we don't want to deal with Jewish people. France, we don't want to deal. Why didn't Germany take the Jewish people back and actually, like, I don't know, like, give them reparations, right? Like, you know, but no, we sent them to Israel. And guess then what happened? They committed their own Holocaust, and they're continuing to do even worse fucking shit now. You know, again, million Gazans, their homes have been completely obliterated. They have nothing. Countless amounts of injuries. Now, again, we always focus on death, and death is always something to focus on. But, like, injuries. If someone gets their arm blown off, do we know that number? Do we know the number of children that have had their fucking you know, arms blown off, that are losing fingers, that don't have feet, that are missing limbs? Do we know the amount of kids that have maybe severe blood loss, or maybe have a bacterial infection that's going to kill them any day now? Like, do we know that? Do we know that? No, we don't. Do we know the amount of Gazans that have long COVID and probably can't even really, like, fucking, you know, properly, like, move their body around to get away from certain, like, war zones, even though the whole thing is a war zone? Do we know that? No, we don't. We just know that there's about 6,000 dead motherfuckers and countless injuries, right? Because how do you count injuries? It's literally impossible. So again, you know, this whole generational violence thing, I mean, again, talk about NPC mode. Like, talk about having no fucking, like, consciousness whatsoever. Like, imagine this. Like, you wake up and you're, like, 3 years old, you got beat by your mom, and then you just sleepwalk for 40 years, and then now you wake up again, you have a kid, and then you beat your kid? Really? Is that acceptable? I mean, I guess it is acceptable. That's how the world works. But, like, on a grand scale, I literally cannot get over the idea that Jewish people, in the year of our Lord, or their Lord, 2023 or 5790, whatever the fuck, whatever it is, right, are now doing the same fucking shit that the Nazis did in the 1930s, right? It's crazy. Like, I literally, like, in only 9, 10, I guess we should say, people in Congress are like, yeah, that's a little fucked. It's a little fucked. Right? But think about it, like, so, okay, Israel, right, they're like, oh, we exist because of the Holocaust, so that means we have a right to do our own Holocaust. But Hamas, right? Hamas, where did Hamas come from? Oh, it came from Israel basically bombing and murdering indiscriminately in Gaza and other places to Palestinians, right? So that people, the family members of the innocents that were murdered were like, I'm going to do something about this. So let's go into Israel and kill a bunch of innocent people. That's wrong, apparently. I'm supposed to believe that that's wrong. But Israel committing a genocide against Muslims because Nazis committed a genocide against Jewish people, that's fine. That's great. I guess, right? Like, what? Like, does anyone make any... No, like, you know, I don't even know, like, is this even allowed to say on YouTube? I guess we'll find out. And again, just to be clear, like, I'm against genocide. Like, this is my position. Now, you know, this is rare in the left, right? This is rare, because most leftists are in favor of the COVID genocide, the genocide of the elderly, the genocide of wisdom. Think of all the old people that died of COVID that had so much left to tell and teach young people. Think about that. Right? The death of wisdom is something I think about it. Library of Alexandria level of just destruction of knowledge going on with the ongoing COVID genocide of the elderly. Disabled people, people that have less ability than the average person, they are being systematically purged from society because of COVID. And leftists and communists are like, let's go to Barbie, let's go to Taylor Swift, let's go to a protest without a mask on so we can infect ourselves and everyone else, so that in 10 years from now, you know, we can only post on social media about free Palestine instead of going to a protest because our legs don't work anymore. Now again, you might consider me a little bit, you know, I'm against all genocide. That's, you know, there are some people that are like, oh, well, you know, the Russian genocide of Ukrainians, really bad, you know, or really good. Some people, you know, some people have some really fucked up opinions on that. But then, you know, I've seen people on both sides, right? The Russian genocide of Ukrainians is bad, but the Israeli genocide of Palestinians is good because Palestinians are in like a geopolitical contract with Russia because, you know, and like this, like, and that's why it's okay. So because like geopolitically chessboard, blah, 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 you know, it's okay to kill 1 million Gazans or to injure 1 million Gazans or to displace 1 million Gazans because Russia maybe did something this and that in the chessboard and my pawn's over there and checkmate, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, if you're enabling and supporting in any way genocide because it's like convenient for you, I think that's a little fucked. I think that's a little fucking crazy. But then you have these other cocksucker motherfuckers, and I know that there's a lot more of these guys, at least in these spaces, where they're like, all Ukrainians are Nazis. Ukraine is a Nazi state. There's no proof of this whatsoever other than they have like Nazi members of the military, which by the way, every country does. The United States does, Russia does, everyone in the European Union does, China does, India does, every single military on the world, every police force on the world has neo-Nazis in it. But when it's Ukraine, all of a sudden it's a spectacular problem that means the genocide of Ukrainians is okay. And then they're like, oh, but the genocide of Gazans is bad? Killing Ukrainians by Russia, that's fine, that's great, because, you know, geopolitical, and, you know, someone told me that there was a Nazi in the military of Ukraine, and therefore they all deserve to die, and that's what some people believe, because they're fucking dumb, right? So, and all of these motherfuckers claim themselves to be a left. By the way, I should read out the list here real quick before I continue ranting and raving. Rashida Tlaib, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman, by the way, shout outs to our class clown king for pulling the fire alarm. Andre Carson, Al Green, Summer Lee, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Delia Ramirez, and those are the people in Congress that voted against arming and supporting the neo-Nazi government of Israel. So again, this whole like generational trauma thing, my dad hit me, so it's okay that I go shoot up a school or some shit. And we're going to be getting into this, you know, like we're going to be getting into this in just a second here. So just bear with me. Like this whole thing, like people love to talk about mental health. We got to talk about mental health, but no one's actually doing anything about mental health, right? And again, meanwhile, like this whole like pro-genocide thing that's going on, I never thought I would be living in this world. I'm not going to lie to you. Like when I was like a fucking like naive little kid and I was like, oh yeah, history happened. Sure, there's bad stuff that happens in the world, but we're never going to see anything like the Holocaust. We're never going to see millions of people getting thrown out in garbage cans. We're never going to see thousands of people being fucking moved through city streets in refrigerated trucks. That would never happen. Why? Because it's the end of history, right? You know, but we're dealing with such incredible mass death that it desensitizes most people, and most people just have no problem participating in it. Again, the COVID genocide, millions of disabled people all across the world wiped off the map. Eugenics. Full stop. If you are giving people COVID, you are a eugenicist, you are a neo-Nazi. Actions speak louder than words. I don't give a shit if you're wearing a keffiyeh and you're saying free Palestine. If you're giving motherfuckers COVID, especially elderly people, especially disabled people, you are a neo-Nazi. Actions speak louder than words, right? So, like, this whole idea where, like, this entire left-wing ecosystem is like, what genocides do you support? And, like, we're all like, I support the Russian genocide of Ukrainians, but I don't support the Israeli genocide of Gazans. Well, I support the Israeli genocide of Gazans, but I don't support the Russian genocide of Ukrainians. And I support the genocide of the elderly with COVID, and I don't support like, what is this, like, picking and choosing what genocide you're in favor of, what genocide you're against kind of thing that people on social media are doing, right? Like, are we really that far gone down the rabbit hole that we don't, like, where's the, the flatly, I am against all genocide category? Because that's where I'm at right now, right? That's where I'm at. Holocaust, bad. It was really bad. Genocide of Gazans, bad. Not good. Genocide of Ukrainians, bad. Let's throw the genocide going on in Yemen in there. No one's talking about that one, right? Bad! Really fucking bad! And then let's talk about the millions of dead motherfuckers from COVID that were told to just go live your life! Go live your life! Go live your life! And now they're dead because it's a genocide of the elderly, genocide of the sick. It's all bad. But if you ask the average leftist, like, they're gonna say, well, my desire to go see Beyonce in a concert outweighs how much I'm against genocide. I prefer seeing Taylor Swift in person than being against genocide. Really? That's how easy it is? Like, and not even that, but there are some leftists will say, like, you know, my preference for Applebee's is more I prefer going to Applebee's than making sure that my grandma can live a happy and healthy life and see my children graduate high school. Like, really? And you're a leftist, right? So I know. We're going to talk about COVID every single week, all the time. And this page, like, refreshed itself, and now I'm lost. But, like, this whole picking and choosing which genocide you support, which genocide you, like, this whole thing, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I feel crazy. And in a way, you know, and this is, like, just a general purpose thing that I consider more in the way I speak and the way I do things, is I am talking to the future. With these shows, I'm not talking to the present. Certainly not talking to the past. They don't know this shit. But the present, I've given up. I've given up on the present. It's all fucked. It's all fucked. So when I'm doing these shows, I'm trying to take a more historical analysis. I'm trying to be more of a future tense speaker. And that's why I may cover certain issues with more severity than others. Because honestly, the present, it's already over for the present. Like, I mean, really, like, think about it. The people are alive right now. The people in the so-called leftist ecosystems online and in person doing organizing events without masks on, without proper protocol. Like, you can do a march for Palestine and not give someone a debilitating, life-destroying virus. It's possible. In fact, you could say it'd be even more effective. Right? Now imagine if everyone in a march, right, was wearing a mask and was, like, you know, 15 feet apart. You could take up a lot more space that way, right? And then also everyone would live a lot more healthily that way. And also think about the required organizational efforts to have everyone wear a mask and to have everyone maintain safe distances, right? That would be a precursor to actual organizational efforts that can do anything, right? Because think about it. What does a March for Palestine do other than make you look cool because you post a selfie on social media, right? What does it do? I mean, again, it shows that the world at large doesn't agree with the genocide in Gaza. Is that really shifting anything? I don't know. Like, and I'm not saying not to protest. I'm saying to protest in a way that's effective. I'm saying to stop doing the parades, because that's what a lot of these protests are. They're parades, where you just go around and virtue signal. And I'm talking about actually organizing. Now, I know I am an anarchist by my school of tradition here, and most people in this space are afraid of actually organizing to do anything effective. People love to say organize, 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 organize. But when it comes to actually doing something effective in a safe way, all of a sudden all those organizers are like, whoa, not me, brother, not me, right? So I'm just saying this, like, back to the point here, isn't it crazy? 10 Congress people were like, you know what, genocide, not good. I'm actually anti-genocide. 10! Only 10 members of the House of Representatives were like, genocide, I'm actually not in favor of genocide. Just, hot take, genocide, killing innocent people is bad. That's 10 out of 435. 10. Whew. Wowzers. But again, I just want to be reiterating here, I am very morally consistent in my position of every genocide is bad, actually. I do not pick and choose which genocides I support. Call me crazy. I think killing innocent people for no reason because of capitalism is actually bad. I think killing people because of land or religion is bad, actually. I think that that's all bad. Killing people because you want to go to Taylor Swift, not so good, actually. I'm against all forms of mass death and destruction. But hey, I guess that's not common in the year 2023 at this point. So there you go. That's what I got to say about that one. There's a mass shooting in Maine. Can you believe Maine has mass shootings now? Like, Jesus Christ, we're really at that level where even Maine is getting mass shootings? Next you're going to tell me there's one in Wyoming, for Christ's sake. But there's a mass shooting in Maine. And we can do this whole song and dance. Everyone can go on the television. Mental health! Mental health! Oh, mental health! Guns! Right, that's the other one. Guns! It's the gun! Yeah, it's the gun! But are any of these motherfuckers actually going to do anything about solving the problem? Nah, they're not going to do shit about solving the gun problem. They're not going to do shit about solving the mental health crisis, right? They're just going to say, eat the guns or eat the mental health, right? And so let's look at what's going on here. I have an article from apnews.com. It says a list of mass killings in the United States since January. And, again, we can talk about Maine, but, or we can just talk about all of them, because I don't know if I've done a mass shooting segment in a while. Romeoville, Illinois, on September 17. A couple, their 2 children, ages 7 and 9, and 3 dogs were found fatally shot in the suburban Chicago home. Police were asked to blah, blah, blah. Come on. Only fucking 4 deaths. I mean, 3 dogs, 4 plus 3 equals, what is 4 plus 3? Only like 9 deaths, Come on, is that really a mass shooting? Lake Township, Ohio, August 24th, 5 members of a family, including 3 children, were found dead at home. Is that really a mass shooting? Like, we need to redefine mass shooting, man. Like, these are not mass shootings. What is a mass shooting? I'm talking about 10 motherfuckers. Like, that's going to be my new thing. Really, 3 people were killed? That's like every day in America, motherfucker. Oklahoma City, August 16th. Police in Oklahoma City said a 28-year-old man fatally shot 3 young children, 9, 5, and 2, and his estranged wife before taking his own life. Is that really a mass shooting? Like, that's called a murder-suicide where I come from, but okay. Hampton, Georgia. 40-year-old man is accused of fatally shooting 4 people, all in their 60s, in a suburb. 4 people? Come on, man. Shreveport, Louisiana. Multiple males are believed to have exchanged gunfire. I love the dehumanizing language. Multiple males. Like, what the fuck? Like, when you're in your little world, wherever you are, you're writing an article for the AP or you're a police, whatever the fuck, and you're writing down the words males, multiple males. We're like, bro, like, are you on drugs? Like, those are human motherfucking beings. What do you mean multiple males? Like, what the fuck? Anyway, whatever. Are believed to exchange fire at an annual Independence Day block party just before midnight, leaving at least 4 people dead and 7 others injured. Yeah, yawn. Philadelphia, a 40-year-old man is accused of opening fire randomly with an AR-15 style rifle. I love that one. AR-15 style. Yeah, really stylized, killing 4 people and wounding 4 others. Like, I don't even know, like, how was that a mass shooting? Like, only 8 people shot? Like, come on, man. Like, what is it in Maine? Like, I think Maine, like, what is it? think at the top of this one, right? Yeah. Opened fire at a bowling alley and a restaurant, killing at least 18 people. Now, that's a mass shooting. Now, again, I just want to be very clear. I do not endorse mass shootings. I don't even like guns. I think guns are shit. That said, I'm relatively pro Second Amendment in the sense that I think people that are intelligent and well-educated should probably know how to fire weapons and probably have weapons, because guess what? Most people are crazy in this world. Most people are uneducated. Most people are insane and psychopathic. And you know what? As shitty as it is, I think the relatively educated, insane, and rational people should also arm up. So I'm more pro Second Amendment than the average person on the left, maybe. But I'm just saying, like, 18 people dead, 13 people wounded, that's a mass shooting. Like, where I come from, that's a mass shooting. Someone killing their dog and their wife and their kid, that is not a... I mean, I guess technically, whatever, definitionally... But I mean, that's like classic crime. You know what I mean? But hey, whatever. You can keep going down the list. Kellogg, Idaho, 31-year-old man is accused of fatally shooting 4 members of a neighboring family. Yeah, that's not a mass shooting. Sequatchie, and I'm not trying to like say which mass shootings really count or not. I'm just saying like mass shootings to me, it's like, you know, you're just killing people just to kill people. It's not, oh, I hate my neighbor, I'm gonna go kill him. I mean, you know, that's just, I'm just, you know, and maybe what I'm saying is a little fucking controversial. But I think all people killing other people is pretty bad, I think. But I mean, I don't, like, I feel like it's one of those cases where, like, when we call someone killing their wife and their child and themselves a mass shooting, it kind of devalues, like, actual mass shootings. In a way. That's just my argumentation here. Mesa, Arizona, 20-year-old man shot 4 men to death and wounded a woman in a 12-hour crime spree. Really? I mean, 4 kills and 1 injury in a 12-hour crime spree? I mean, like, wow. Like, talk about eternally shitty ratios. Authorities jailed an 18-year-old man in connection with the shootings of his parents, sister, and brother inside home. That's not a mass shooting. Allen, Texas, a 33-year-old man with an arsenal of legally purchased firearms killed 8 people and wounded 7 others at a Dallas area shopping center. That is a mass shooting. Oh, and by the way, that was the neo-Nazi. The neo-Nazi. I say as if there's only one. Most of these guys are neo-Nazis. Right, so anyway, you can read this list. There's a lot of people die in this country. It's kind of hard to even care about Americans getting killed at this point. I mean, like, I'm just being honest. I'm saying what we're all thinking. Like, yeah, it sucks, but are we gonna do anything about it? Obviously not. I mean, Columbine happened. What did we do? We blamed video games and movies and then went along. Sandy Hook happened. What did we do? We blamed internet podcasters and movies and what did we, like, you know, like fucking Parkland happened. Remember that one from, what was it, last year? I don't even remember. It was in Texas, you know, some like kid, like some guy shot up in elementary school, right? And the cops were like, really? I don't even remember that one. There's so fucking many. I don't remember the name of that one. But like, and we clearly are doing nothing about this. Like, and that's the thing is like, okay, so I can sit up here and do the song and dance. Mental health, guns, it's the gun. Like, yeah, it's all of the above. And guess what? We're all doing nothing about it. We'd rather watch fucking stupid cartoons on Netflix. We'd rather play video games. We'd rather jerk off. We'd rather eat fucking junk food than do anything about anything because we're all Americans at the end of the day. And Americans are the most selfish, dumb fuck group of people in the history of the world. And then it goes into like, we need to talk about like, what are we going to do? You know, I'm sitting here on my little fucking chair saying, oh, no one does anything. Yeah, okay. What do we do? I don't fucking know. What are we going to do? A protest? That doesn't work. There was a 1 million person march in Washington, D.C. after Parkland. Guess what happened? Nothing! What are we going to do? Protesting doesn't work. Now, am I saying don't protest? No, I'm just saying it's not going to work. So what are we going to do? Vote for more politicians? I mean, we've been voting for more left-wing politicians for a decade now. Has it happened? No, it hasn't happened. And even if it did, it probably wouldn't pass the Supreme Court's little fucking litmus test, right? So what do we even need to do to solve this problem? I'm here to tell you, I don't think we can solve this problem. Now, I think there are solutions. I don't think we're capable of those solutions. I really don't. I really, really, really don't. So my solution, and this may sound a little, mentally ill, is to stay at home. And not go to fucking anywhere where someone, like, not go to a bowling alley in the middle of an airborne pandemic. Like, can we really say, like, I know. I know. Can we really say you're going to a bowling alley in the middle of an airborne pandemic? Can we really say that the match? I'm just, But hey, what am I? I'm just some crazy ass bitch on the internet. This is the thing, is like, I really want people to understand that are watching these shows in the present, is that I am going down the rabbit hole. I have deactivated all of my defense mechanisms. I have decided to buy a scuba set, and I am diving in on going crazy. I am crazy. I admit that I am crazy. I acknowledge that most people acknowledge me as crazy. I don't mind being unpopular. I don't mind making people cringe. I don't mind people saying like, wow, that made you crazy. Because I am crazy. And you know what? I also don't care about persuading people anymore. I really don't. I really don't care about persuading you to have good politics. Either you support mass death or you don't. And in this instance, even if you don't support mass death, what do we do about it? Nothing? Nothing. We do nothing about it. Why? Because what is there to fucking do? What are we going to do? Do a protest? That doesn't do anything. What are we going to do? Vote our way out of this? That doesn't do anything. What are we going to do? Organize? Like, okay, we're going to organize. To do what? Destroy the fucking U.S. government? Because guess what? We'd have to eradicate the Supreme Court before we even tackle gun laws in this country, right? Are we going to organize for Medicare for all? That's not going to happen. Look at the airborne pandemic that everyone just ignored, right? Everyone just ignored an airborne pandemic that's killing millions of motherfuckers, disabling millions of motherfuckers. Everyone that's gotten COVID at least once is disabled in some way. And no one gave a shit. So are we really going to do something about mass shootings? No, we're not. So I'm here to tell you, buckle up. This is life. Nothing will ever be done. It will never get better. It will only get worse. Every passing day is going to get worse in every possible way. And the only thing you can do to stop that is by focusing on yourself and making your own life as good as possible. And, I'm going to sit here and say, maybe that has a chance of working. Hear me out. If we all worked on ourselves, ate better food, right? Exercised more, read more, learned more in general, cared more about other people. You know what that's going to do? That's going to have a reverberating echo effect downstream on society, right? You ever see a motherfucker, like maybe it's a family friend or maybe a family member you see like on the holidays once a year or whatever, and it's like they just got their life in order, like everything's going well, like they look fucking great, they're extremely healthy, they exercise all the time, and you're just thinking like, damn, like I'm impressed by this motherfucker, and then maybe that inspires you to make your life better. That's in my opinion, I feel like that's the only thing we got left, because we clearly haven't tried that. We've tried protesting, didn't work. We've tried voting, it didn't work. Now, I'm not saying to stop those things, but I'm saying, manage your expectations. A protest will change nothing. Voting will change nothing. In a vacuum, you have to do all of the above, including other shit that we're not doing, right? 93% of Americans are addicted to junk food in some way. Maybe that's fueling this crisis of apathy, right? Junk food, which, what does it do? It destroys your brain. It makes you more likely to be irritable all the time. It makes you more likely to be aggressive because you don't have proper brain chemical balance, right? And 93% of Americans have a permanent, or I guess I shouldn't say permanent, have a temporary, at least a temporary disability from eating junk food all the time. And an even larger, not even larger, I should say. I'm sorry. I'm fucking my sentence structure up. A smaller percentage and a subset of that 93% have a permanent disability, right? Like, you can reverse diabetes, but it's really hard. And there are a lot of people in this country that have almost irreversible diabetes. Now, again, irreversible diabetes can be reversed. There's a lot of people that's like, my doctor said I'm going to be on insulin for the rest of my life, and then I decided to get my shit together and they're fine now. But a lot of people don't have that luxury, right? So there's a lot of people that have literally given themselves a disability, a life-altering permanent disability, either from COVID because they wanted to go to Applebee's or Barbie or fucking Taylor Swift or whatever's popular among the fucking sheep and the lemmings, right? Or they just want to eat ice cream every day and eat pizza every day and they're fucking killing themselves, right? And they're fucking disabling themselves. They're unable to properly think. Because that's the thing that, like, I want people to understand, like, physical health and mental health, those are not two things. Like, there is no such thing as mental health. There is no such thing as physical health. There is health. There is health. You cannot be physically dying and then be mentally healthy, right? And we're not talking about, like, you know, those cancer patients that had like 15,000 grams of magic mushrooms and they come out the other side and they're like, I'm perfectly happy with things. Those are the outliers, right? Those are the exceptions to prove the rule, right? But, like, typically when your physical health is fucked, and 93% of Americans, that is the lowest possible number, 93% of Americans have a physical health disability that is on its way to becoming permanent. It could be reversed, but they're not doing it. So if 93% of Americans have a physical health, disfiguration of some kind, they have metabolic syndrome, look it up, metabolic dysfunction, that's going to lead to a large amount of mental health problems. It just is. And then you have COVID. What does COVID do? It fuses your brain cells together and prevents neurons from firing. You think that's going to cause people to maybe become more agitated, aggressive, and maybe commit more shootings or crimes of some kind? I'm just saying. I don't know. Food for thought on that one. But there's lots of mass killings in the United States, and, like, no one cares. No one gives a shit. People will pretend to give a shit. You'll see the politicians do the mental health and the gun debate as if that's a fucking dichotomy of any kind. They'll pretend to care. They'll virtue signal. You'll see people post their hashtags on social media, but no one's going to do anything about it. No one's going to make a change in their personal lives. No one's going to actually organize in an effective way. Why? Because it's impossible. It's impossible. I'm sitting here to tell you, and you can call me a doomer if you want. But, and I say this not because I'm a doomer, but because we need to acknowledge what's possible and what's not possible within the limitations of our current society. American society as it is has produced citizens that are fucking evil. Evil. We're talking about the average person in this country is a morally bankrupt, evil son of a bitch, right? And, you know, Peter Singer style, right? For all kinds of reasons. But modern day, right? The level of depravity that the modern person has, it's literally impossible to make change without changing the demographics of this country. When 93% of Americans are addicted to junk food so much so that it destroys their metabolism, which destroys their brain cognitive functioning and health, when most Americans are fine getting a permanently disabling virus several times a year, that constituency is not going to change anything. They're not going to change anything at all. So what do we need to do? Change the constituency. And how do we do that? I don't know. An idea I have, ironically, is working on yourself. If you can become a beacon of positive influence for every other person in your life, and then they can become a beacon of positive influence for every person in their life, maybe we'd have a chance at turning the ship around. But even then, I'm not sure. But what I can guarantee you is the current constitution of Americans obviously isn't going to do anything, because the average American is a morally bankrupt, evil son of a bitch. I genuinely believe that. And you might call me crazy, but guess what? I don't care if you call me crazy. I know I'm crazy. I know that I'm the minority. I know I'm the societal outcast. I'm aware that what I say is unpopular, so I don't give a shit if you call me unpopular. But I'm telling you, crying about the guns doesn't do anything. Crying about mental health doesn't do anything, right? Going to protests doesn't do anything. You know, organizing. This is like the left-wing religion, right? Is you see a lot of left-wingers organize. You gotta organize. Are you organizing? You gotta organize. Like, they always tell you, you got to do this thing. It has no evidence that it does anything. It has no evidence that it works. But just do it, and then something good might happen. We've had a lot of organizing. Not much is getting better. You know, some people will say, well, unions are winning and they're blah, blah, blah. And they're also permanently disabling their entire workforce with COVID while they're doing it. So are they really organizing to do anything? Either we need to have an effective informed and educated population that knows what's happening, or we're just going to flail like a bunch of fucking, like, you know, magic carp, and we're not going to do anything of value, right? If your society is fundamentally sick and uneducated, even if they have all the right ideas, they're not going to be able to implement them. They're just not going to be able to. Now, am I saying not to organize? No, I'm not saying that. But if you organize, you want to be organizing on a level that's not just, oh, we're going to get together and do this thing on this day. You need to change motherfuckers' lives. You need to permanently alter people's lifestyle for the better. That is the organization we need. So, anyway, mass death, mass killings. Everyone wants to talk about it. It's the guns, it's the mental health. Who cares? No one gives a shit. Let's be honest. No one gives a shit. No one really cares. It's content. Think about it. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Last year, when I was doing this show every day, last year, like, I'm going to tell you on a completely unironic level, right? I was getting excited at the mass shootings. I was. And, you know, on a level I still am, because it's, you know, it's somewhat entertaining to me to just watch the country fall apart. And I know it sounds fucked up to say, but hey, we're not doing anything about it. So what are you doing to prevent it? Nothing. So, whatever. But like, think about it from like the content perspective, right? Mass shootings get a lot of news attention. At least, you know, last year they did. I mean, not much anymore, I guess. And it's like, think about it like, oh, we cover a mass shooting, get a lot of views. What are views? Ads. What are ads? Money. Where we all sit here and oh my God, it's so terrible. Oh, it's the worst thing in the world. Oh my God. And we all do the song and dance every time. No one ever presents any new solutions because the old ones don't work. Guns aren't good. Like saying guns. That doesn't stop anything. That doesn't solve anything. Saying mental health doesn't solve anything. Doesn't stop anything, right? So effectively, what are people on this website doing every time there's a mass shooting? They're celebrating because they get even more money in ad revenue. And they're going to go on their thing and they're going to pretend to be upset and they're going to pretend to offer solutions that don't do anything. And they're just going to rinse and repeat over and over until we all retire, I guess. Or get killed in another mass shooting. Who knows? But I just like, you know, and you can consider me like, you know, I've given up on the present. I mean, like, this is what I said earlier. I'm speaking to the future. My only solace is that at some point in the future, someone will find these videos and think, wow, at least somebody knew what was going on. That's all I got. I am not speaking to the present anymore. And, you know, I mean, obviously, in a way, I'm speaking to the present, but my focus is on the future because I am very concerned for the future. I'm extraordinarily concerned for the future. I'm concerned for my future. I'm concerned for your future. I'm concerned for our future. I'm concerned for the future. And I don't know. Like, where are the people in the present that are willing to actually do anything? Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm not willing to do anything other than do this. This is the only thing I got. Everyone's got specific things that they're talented at, and this is mine. And you can say I'm not talented, you can say I'm whatever, but this is what I got. You know, I like talking to strangers on the internet. Right? So, you know, maybe you shouldn't be listening to me either, but, you know, I like to philosophize about the state of the world. And, you know, maybe you can consider me a negative role model, whatever. I like to think maybe I'm a positive role model in some instances, right? Maybe, kind of, I don't know. But I have no delusion that anything I'm doing is going to change the world. I know we're already on the fast track to fuckville. And so, you know, whenever I am analyzing a topic, I want to analyze it from what are people going to think about this 10 years from now? And that's just, you know, that's going into my commentary style. But anyway, that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed today's program. Yeah, so I'm trying to think, do I have anything else I want to say? I'm going to be doing some Halloween type videos next week. So, shout outs to Halloween. Gonna be doing some movie stuff. So, and yeah, that's what I got. I got nothing. I'm here to offer you nothing. I don't even know why you're listening to this. Is it out of habit? Analyze your own life. Why are you listening to this? What brought you here? What are the dominoes that brought you to listening to this? Is it a healthy thing to do? Is this good for you to listen to this? Maybe. Maybe not. It depends on, I guess, who you are. Maybe it could be healthy. Maybe it couldn't be. I don't know. If you determine that watching this fucking garbage is unhealthy, maybe stop. I don't mind. Whatever, If you determine that this is helping you in some way, continue. But at least ask yourself the question. Why am I watching this? Why am I watching this stupid fucking bitch? And if you determine that you have no good answer, maybe stop. I don't know. And maybe analyze everything you do in life, every step you take with that same skepticism. Why am I eating this for breakfast? Why am I walking this way? Why am I, looking at my phone in this fashion? Why am I, just think about it. Just analyze all your behaviors and make sure you like doing them. I don't know. That's what I've been doing. I've been making sure that I like doing the show. That's why I took a break. That's why I'm continuing to just do a little bit of a sporadic thing. Because I realize that doing this show every day is not healthy for me. And doing it once a week is actually healthy for me. If I didn't do the show at all, I would get bottled up with things to say, and then they'd break my brain. If I do one show a week, it's like, a healthy, cathartic exhaust, But, I don't know. That's all I got. So, I don't know.